Hello everyone, I'm going to show you how I created this futuristic monitor analog effect in Photoshop. But before I do, I just wanted to clarify that I did not make this pattern. It belongs to Texture Lab, and I will go ahead and show you their website where you can download this pattern. This is the Texture Labs website where you can find two packs for this monitor effect. As you can see, there is one for $5 and there is also a free one, but in this video I will be using the free patterns. Alright, let's begin. As you can see, I have my image uploaded to Photoshop. I also have an extra layer underneath it that I will be using for later. And as you can see, I have also converted my image into a smart object. And to do that, you can go to Layer, Smart Objects, and Convert to Smart Object. Now that we have our smart object, we can go ahead and go to Image, Adjustments, Hue Saturation. To achieve this effect, we will need to remove the colors. So let's go ahead and do that. We can also delete this. And we're going to go back to image and we are going to add a levels adjustments. But for now, we won't be adding or messing with it. We will only be adding it, but later on, we will go back to levels. Now that we have our adjustments, let's go to filter. We're going to go to pixelate and let's go to mosaic. As you can see, I set mine to 100 pixels, but depending on your image, you will need to go either up or down. And once you have that, let's press OK. And now we will be adding a pattern overlay. We need to make sure that the blend mode is on hard mix. And if you want to make sure that your pattern is aligned with your image, you can go ahead and mess with the opacity. For my image, I will be using a soft pattern from the 5th folder. There are many more in this pack that you can go ahead and check to see which one works best with your image. We will also need to make sure that the pattern is the same size as our mosaic filter. As you can see, I have mine set to 100. And you will also want to make sure that you turn off link with layer and click snap to origin. Once you have that, let's press OK. Now we can go back to levels. For my image, I found that moving to the grayscale to 1.33 and the white scale to 230 worked best for my image. Once you are done with the levels adjustments, you can go ahead and press OK. Now we can go back to our image, double click. Now that we're in blending options, let's go to blend if, and we are going to drag the scale. Depending on your photo, it can be higher than mine, but what we want to do is make sure that this is far away from 0. For my image, I found that 42 worked best. And one last thing that we have to do in here is that we have to click blend interior effects as group. And now let's press OK. As you could see, my image is entirely white. And now we can go to our layer. We can fill it in with black. And now we could see our image again. We are almost done. Now we will need to make a glow effect, and we will be using drop shadow to make that glow effect. In this video, I will be adding 5 drop shadows to achieve that effect. But before we do that, let's drag our image. Let's put it into a group. And now we could begin adding our drop shadows. As you can see, my Photoshop remembered that I made 5 drop shadows for my previous image. So let's go ahead and erase that so I can start over. All right, let's go ahead and add our drop shadow now. We will want to make sure that our blend mode is linear dodge. For our first drop shadow, I would like to keep my opacity at 100. I will also change the angle. I will keep my distance at 3, and I will also keep my size at 3. And before we add any more, let's go to blending options. Let's go ahead and turn off fill opacity. Let's go back to our drop shadow. You can go ahead and add noise if you'd like. I decided to add noise to mine, and I decided to keep it at 5. And before we add another drop shadow, let's turn off layer knocks out drop shadow and go ahead and turn on use global light. All right, let's go ahead and add another one. I almost forgot to mention that I will be using red for this image. You can use any color that you'd like, but you'd want to make sure that the first color that you use is a bright one, and throughout each drop shadow you're going to change the shade of the color. All right, for my second drop shadow, I will turn down the opacity to 50. I will also be changing my angle on this one. I will keep my distance at 3. I will change the size to 10. I will keep the noise at 5. I will be changing the color for this one. Well, different shade. All right, let's go ahead and add another drop shadow. This one I will keep the opacity at 50. I will keep the distance at 3. I will keep this angle, and I will change the size to 100. The noise will remain the same. Let's change the shade. Um, for my image, I decided to keep the last 3 drop shadows with the same color. I found it nice for my image, but you can go ahead and change it on yours. I will keep the opacity at 50, keep the angle the same. I will change the distance on this one to 71. And I will keep the size the same, noise will be the same, color will be the same. Let's add our last drop shadow. This will be at 50. I will have it at the same angle. I will have the distance at 200. And I will have the size at 250. Noise will be the same, color will be the same. One last thing, we'd want to go to inner glow. I will keep the blend mode at normal, keep the source at the center, and make sure that the opacity is at 70. And let's just press OK. Last part is optional. I added this because I wanted to make the details pop out more for my image. So what I did was that I am going to add a new layer. I will grab a gradient tool. And I will change the blend mode to overlay. And that is it. That is how I created my futuristic monitor analog effect in Photoshop.